Hello and welcome to Business This Week on Viewer Television. My name is Nwokocha Chiwe, and as usual, I'll be bringing you all the activities that happened this week in our business world, from Nigeria's infrastructure to stock market and insurance policy, and so on. But before I bring you the story in details, let's go on a quick break, and when we return, Business This Week continues. Do stay tuned.
In this 21st century, where all the information we need is now in the palm of our hands. News from around the world, entertainment, celebrity gossip, sports, and much more. The only thing that you need is the right source. Viewer TV is now on the go. Simply check us out on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for all the information you need.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Business This Week. Well, like I said earlier, I have a lot in stock for you. But first, let's start with the rundown of all we would be talking about today. Now, first on the list is the Nigeria's infrastructure. After that, we'll take a look at the stock market. After stock market, we'll talk about insurance policy. Then the next thing is foreign investment. From foreign investment, I'll take you to telecommunications service. After that, we'll take a look at business optimization. After that, the next thing would be the banking sector. From the banking sector, we'll take a look at financial statements and also debt deficit. After that, we'll talk about the Obajana cement plant. Still on Obajana cement plant, we'll take a look at Obajana dispute. And last but not the least, we'll talk about the Lekki Epe Airport. So now, let's look at Nigeria's infrastructure and how $2.3 trillion is needed to resolve infrastructure challenges. That is, according to the Finance Minister, Zainab Ahmed. The minister says they have started the Road Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme, which was launched in 2019 to leverage private sector capital through tax credits and has provided private sector expertise to construct, repair, and maintain critical road infrastructure in key economic growth corridors and industrial clusters in Nigeria. Although these are downturn investment targets, but you agree that they represent the baseline requirements to build a modern Nigeria, an industrialized nation that we deserve for ourselves and also for our future generation. Now, meanwhile, on stock market, capitalization decreased from 26.6 trillion to 25.71 trillion naira. A newcomer, Geregu Power, recorded the highest price gain of 9.91% to close at 120.90 naira per share. Livestock feeds followed with a gain of 9.80% to close at 1.2, while Cortex rose at 8.00% to close at 2.16 per share. Cornerstone Insurance went up by 3.92% to close at 53 kobo, while FCMB Group appreciated by 3.83% to close at 3.23 naira per share. Now, on the other hand, Airtel Africa led the losers chart by 10% to close at 108 to close at 108 per share. Now let's take a look at the insurance policy. Now, the life insurance business recorded a near perfect point of about 88% claims settlement as against the reported claims, while non-segment stood at about 76.8%. And according to the report, the percentage of incurred claims as against reported, mirrored, and market retention view during the period. However, motor insurance retained its lead, posting a claims settlement ratio of 92%, while progress was more noticeable in the oil and gas sector with above 85.7% of claims settlement ratio, an increase of some 42 points compared to its position of 42.8% recorded in the corresponding period of 2021. And on foreign investment, fossil fuel is at the age of chaos. This means that if oil and gas companies decide to shut down their economies against fossil fuels, the whole world would go into a spin. That being said, Africa should see opportunity in renewable energy instead of seeing it as a loss. While we acknowledge that gas is Nigeria's transitional fuel, we also rule that future is hydrogen. I mean, the total value of capital importation into Nigeria in the second quarter of 2022 stood at about $1 billion from $876 million in the corresponding quarter of 2021, showing an increase of 75%. What that means is fossil fuel is at the age of chaos, noting that low funding from international oil companies is preference for greener energies and was a sign for the country to consider having an energy transition agenda. Now, let's take a look at telecommunication service. Now, given the state of the economy and the circa 40% increase in the cost of doing business, I posit for an interim administrative review of the mobile termination rate for voice, administrative data flow, price, and cost of SMS. In spite of the contributions and achievements of the sector, we have been recording some challenges coming up from time to time that if care is not taken, these challenges could be a barrier to the development of this sector in the next few years to come. One of them is the issue of excessive taxation and sometimes multiple taxations in the sector. Meanwhile, on business optimization, Standard Organization of Nigeria is committed to proving support to help micro, small, and medium enterprises in compliance and development for enhanced service delivery. Now, your role as MSME ready for production and trade in quality products with Britain therefore includes, but is not limited to, allowing the sun grow and test the quality of your products. Your business and the chamber can join the Sun Technical Committee meetings to develop standards, and standards implementation should form part of your company's policy with time for implementation. Now we'll take a quick break, and when we return, Business This Week continues. Do stay tuned.
my life polo is good. Though I just started and I'm still learning the basics. But I hope to be a pro in this game, and God being by my side, I know everything will be fine. I started 4 months ago. I started stick and ball 4 months ago, though I attended the riding course in Pakistan. I've learned the riding basics, but the game of polo 4 months ago, I started stick and ball. Every day we mount on the horse, we pray, and once we come down, as you can see, I was about ending and I fell from the horse. It's a normal thing. In horse riding, if you don't fall, you've not started yet. So you need to train. You can see I'm sweating, I'm eating banana, it's part of it. You must train, you must eat well, and you must learn properly. I've chosen polo to be my own sport, and I've always looked up to people like General Kazir Fire, General MSA Aliu, Colonel Waibello, and General Laka. Few of them, I've looked up to these people. These are great polo players, and they've always encouraged me to play the game of polo.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Business This Week. Now, let's take a look at the banking sector. Now, World Bank has said that public debt in Nigeria is concerning due to the rising debt service to revenue ratio. And debt pressures have increased as debt service to revenue is projected to increase to 102.3% by the end of 2022. Now, what this means is that high oil prices do not translate into government receipts due to elevated subsidies for petroleum products. And we all know that the combination of low production in the oil industry and sustainable subsidies is one of the main obstacles to attaining debt sustainability. According to World Bank, the growth has affected the growth was affected by the underperformance of the oil sector. Away from the oil sector, now let's take a look at financial statement. The annual report and financial statement of Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company for the year of 2021 stated that one major area of challenge has been the low operational funding for the company. This was largely due to a surge in depreciation charges as more fixed assets were transferred from corporation's headquarters during the period under review. However, adjusting for other comprehensive income, the company posted a total comprehensive loss of about 22.89 billion naira as against 55.77 billion naira in 2022, representing a decrease of 58.96% in its loss performance. That's that on financial statement. Now, let's quickly take a look at debt deficit. And according to data from the CBN, the federal government borrowed a total of 4.61 trillion naira from the Apex Bank between January and August 2022. The 2022.07 trillion owed the Apex Bank by the federal government is not part of the country's total public debt stock, which stood at 42.87 trillion naira as of June 2022. Now, according to the Debt Management Office, the total amount of advance outstanding shall not at any time exceed 5% of the previous year's actual revenue of the federal government. Also, all advances should be repaid as soon as possible, and if any delay, it should be repayable by the end of the federal government's fiscal year in which they were granted. Now, on Obajana cement plant, there has been a recurring issue. Now, as a result of that, the president of the Association for the Advancement of the Rights of Shareholders, Umar Farouk, has criticized the Kogi state government for shutting down a company providing employment opportunities and economic empowerment for the local community of Obajana. He said, why should the government of a state in Nigeria mobilize vigilantes to seal a publicly quoted company? He also alleged the same governor did exactly same thing to First Bank. Is that not executive rascality? He added. Now, in my opinion, this whole chaos that led to invasion of the Dangote cement factory by youths, which resulted to the shooting of some factory workers. I mean, it is quite unfortunate, ill-construed, and avoidable. For goodness sake, there should be a level playground that would guarantee a win-win situation for business and the state government. Now, still on the same Obajana issue, at a time of significant economic challenge that we face as a nation, we believe all must be done to keep our economy running effectively. I mean, we know the cement plant is a huge employer of labor. A lot of other small businesses like bukas, kiosks, and so on depend on the cement plant to thrive. If we were being honest, the shutdown of this company has materially jeopardized the economic well-being of our country without any regard for its significant consequences. Now, it is said the Obajana cement plant was one of the most critical components of economic activities in the nation. Of course, being one of the highest taxpayers. Now, in the midst of all these disputes, the Kogi State Commissioner for Information, Kingsley Fanwo, told Dangote Group and its image makers to focus on proving its total ownership of the Obajana Cement Company rather than chasing shadows. All right, now on the brighter side, the federal government has approved Lekki Epe Airport, and the airport would be effective in linking Lagos with Africa and the rest of the world. A step in the right direction, I would say. You know, with the growing youthful and vibrant population, there is absolutely no slowing Lagos down. Case in point, this year, based on the number and quality of startups, the Global Startup Ecosystem Index ranked Lagos as 81 of the top 1,000 startup cities, reflecting a plus 41 shift from its position in 2021. I mean, this is a substantial milestone if you ask me. And it is the first year where an African city, not just an African city, but Lagos, made the global top 100 list. And this is just one of many milestones recorded in Lagos. Let me tell you what this means. These successes will result in the migration of more people into the state. Hence, I would say, approval of the Lekki Epe Airport is timely. All right, we'll take a quick break now, and when we return, Business This Week continues. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Business This Week on Viewer Television. Now, well, that's where we draw the curtains for the program Business This Week for today. Thank you for being a part of it, and another interesting package awaits you next week, same time. I am Mukocha Chinwe. Stay tuned.